Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Double T Podcast Network. This is your humble host, Double T, welcoming you in and wishing you a happy Super Bowl Sunday. Let's get it out of the way right now. Who do you got for today? My pick, just on points. Just on final score, no points. I'm going with the Eagles today. And as a Cowboy fan, I hate to say that, but I'll tell you, Eagles and Chiefs are going to be an interesting matchup. And I think it's going to come down to the running game. And if Saquon Barkley has a great game, Chiefs could be in trouble. I ask you, folks, if you like the content that we bring you, and we try to bring you as accurate, 100% factual content as possible, please like and subscribe to our channel. Down at the bottom, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything, but what it helps to do is it helps to get my show pushed into different algorithms on YouTube, and gets me a little bit more exposure and really helps the channel get to more people. I hope you've been enjoying the shorts that we've been producing. Every episode that we've been producing, we produce 4 short clips, which are on the channel, and I'm trying to put them on Facebook also. So give us a little help, and let's keep the information flowing. Folks, what we are witnessing here is a real mismatch. The Democrats are taking a knife to a gunfight. We are witnessing right now what I feel is the end of the Democratic Party as we once knew it. The Trump juggernaut is just plowing through things. Now, they are going to challenge everything that Trump does in court, and that's fine. Let them do it. Scenes that we saw this week of senators and congressmen. It was the Department of Education. I'm sorry, little mental lapse there. In front of the Department of Education, and they wanted to get in. Now, these people haven't been in the Department of Education for who knows how long. But there was security out there, and the building was closed because the Doge team was in there going through the books. And you just had Democrat after Democrat with microphones and bullhorns yelling and screaming. My favorite Democratic senator in terms of stupidity is Maxine Waters. When Biden got out of the Senate, she replaced him as the dumbest senator. That is for sure. And what they are saying is nothing. They're just yelling and screaming, and Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that, Donald Trump this, Elon Musk is not the president. All the Democrats are doing right now is yelling and screaming. Now, there's only 2 shows that I watch on Fox News. Okay. I watch The 5 and I watch Gutfeld. All right. On The 5, there is a Democrat that sits on that panel. His name is Harold Ford Jr. I believe he used to be a congressman. Harold Ford is a really good guy, and he's not your typical, yelling and screaming. And Harold Ford is a Democrat that anybody can sit down and have a conversation with. And Harold Ford pointed out the most clearly logical reason why the Democrats are where they are today. Okay. Well, first of all, there is no clear leader of the Democratic Party. Okay. You would think Kamala would be the leader of the party, but I've got news for you. They don't want her. And if she ever decided to try to make a run in 2028, she would not get any donor money. donors will not give her a dime after she fleeced them out of $1.5 billion and still ended up in the red. So there's no clear leader of the party. Is Schumer the leader of the party? Who's the leader? Nobody knows. So who's there's somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings. The Obama dynasty is dead. I don't think Obama really has any grasp on anything right now. Their second problem is they don't have a clear vision or a clear message for the country. If you listened to this campaign from start to finish, Trump stayed on message the entire time. And everything that Trump said he was going to do, he has started to do. Now, what people, particularly liberals, don't understand is that when you walk into such a disaster, you've got to blow it up and then put it back together. And that's what Trump is doing. Now, Netanyahu was in town, I believe it was the beginning of the week or last week, and as they were having a joint press conference, Trump throws out the idea of the United States going in and redeveloping Gaza and making it the Riviera of the Middle East. Because any attempt, we've sent boatloads of cash over there for different reasons, and all these terrorists did with this money is build tunnels that they can move around freely and hold prisoners in. They never used the money for what it was intended for. So all of a sudden, the media explodes. The Democrats go crazy, and everyone's saying, now Trump wants to benefit himself financially. He wants to go into Gaza and build a Trump hotel and a golf course. And no. People don't understand Donald Trump. Some people don't understand Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a deal maker, and sometimes in order to make a deal, you got to plant a seed. The issue with Gaza is in order to just go in there and level it and rebuild it, you have to displace 2 million people for a while. And the surrounding countries, we don't want them. Until 3 days ago, where Egypt popped up and said, that's a great idea. So Trump doesn't want to redevelop Gaza. He's got a lot better things to do. But Trump threw the hook in the water, and now he's got one. You watch, he'll build a coalition. Okay? Democratic members of Congress and the Senate protesting at buildings is not what they need to be doing right now. These idiots should be either legislating or be back in their districts, talking to their constituents, finding out what the problems are, and working on solutions to fix them. Trump actually extended an olive branch and said this week that he would love to sit down with the Democrats and work with them. Let's see how that goes. Let's talk a little bit about Doge and the Doge father, our boy Elon Musk, whom everybody calls the co-president or the president or Trump's boy. Time magazine actually put a picture of Elon Musk sitting behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office on their cover this week. And the media thought they were going to get under Trump's skin and give him a gotcha question. And how do you feel about the picture that Time magazine put on their cover of Elon Musk sitting behind your Resolute desk? And he laughed and he said, "Really?" He said, "I didn't even know that." He goes, "Time magazine, they're still in business?" Trump 2.0. Have you seen him get mad yet? Have you seen him yell and scream yet? Have you seen him do anything unpresidential yet? This man is laser focused, and the media can't keep up with him. They just got off of a 4-year vacation and got thrown into a tornado. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch. All right, so let's talk about Doge for a minute. The first thing that popped up in Doge, and it was a mistake that it happened this way because USAID was not technically on the immediate radar. There were other things, but somebody said something and Musk caught it and said, okay, that's where we're going to start. So Musk has a team of 4 or 5 guys, and I said, guys, these guys are 19 and 20 years old geniuses, okay? And understand that whatever federal building that they are working in and whatever documents that they are looking at, it's read-only. They can't alter anything. They can't copy anything. It's read-only. All they're looking for is waste, fraud, and abuse. So USAID was created by President Carter as a mechanism to help third world nations with medical care and disaster relief when necessary. You know, President Carter, for everything said about President Carter was a humanitarian. Okay. And the intentions that USAID was set up under were very good. However, that was in the mid 70s. Okay. Now we're 45 years later. And we need the goggles because who's watching this? You know, this agency handles billions of dollars. And there's no supervision, if you will. They have a department, you know, head of USAID, but who's watching the watcher? So, found a few things that I'd like to share with you. Probably already heard a few of these, but for decades, this agency for international development has been unaccountable to the taxpayers as it funnels massive sums of money to the ridiculous and in many cases malicious projects, pet projects of entrenched bureaucrats with no oversight. So here's a few examples. $1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. Okay. $70,000 for production of a DEI musical in Ireland. $2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam. $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia. $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for a nonprofit linked to designated terrorist organizations, even after an inspector general launched an investigation. Millions to an EcoHealth Alliance, which was involved in the research in the Wuhan lab. Funding to print personalized contraceptives, birth control devices in developing countries. Hundreds of millions of dollars to fund irrigation canals, farming equipment, and even fertilizer used to support the unprecedented poppy cultivation and heroin production in Afghanistan, benefiting the Taliban. The list goes on. Here's what I thought was interesting. And I don't have this list at the moment, but maybe next time we'll go through it, is what USAID and a couple other branches of our federal government were funding the mainstream media. USAID gave $39 million to Politico, which is a left-leaning news organization, to run hit pieces on Trump. But that's the only one that USAID laid out to the media. I'll get the other ones for the next podcast. The media has received billions of dollars to suppress free speech and to run hit pieces on Trump. And it's got to stop. Okay, now, I will say this. There were 14,000 workers at USAID last week. Today, there are 294. USAID no longer exists as it once did. It now is going under the Department of State. Marco Rubio is going to be in charge of that. Next on the list will be the Department of Education. Now, we spend, as a country, the most per student on education. And our test scores are the lowest of the low. And they get worse. They get worse every year. So what is the Department of Education doing for us? It's a big slush fund for bureaucracy. It's a big grift. So what you will see is the dismantling of the Department of Education, and it's going to be sent back to the states. So Connecticut, Oklahoma, Illinois, you will be able to produce your own curriculum and be responsible for it. And maybe not list your parents that go to school board meetings as domestic terrorists, because that's not nice. Oh, you know, one of the things that USAID was doing, they were going to spend $147,000 on an exhibit for Anthony Fauci. That got canceled, by the way. Oh, God. So anyway, so now Biden did all these preemptive pardons, which I'm really not sure if they hold up in court. I don't know. I got to talk to some of my lawyer friends, and I got to really read up on pardons and what a preemptive pardon actually is. And if you haven't been charged with a crime, how can you accept a pardon? That I don't understand. So that I need to learn. But Trump did some interesting stuff this week. He revoked Joe Biden's security clearance. So Biden will no longer be able to get daily briefings and important documents that are related to national security. Now, if you're saying, that's kind of like a dick move, well, you know something? Biden did it to Trump. He also canceled Tony Blinken, who was the national security advisor, revoked his security clearance. He revoked anybody you can think of that was anything in Biden's administration. Jack Smith, my guess, I didn't see Christopher Wray, but my guess would be that's coming. Alvin Bragg and Letitia James. Now, I'm not sure how that's going to hold up, because you see, once you get your security clearance yanked, you're not allowed to go into federal building. And Bragg and Letitia James work in federal buildings, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to hold up. But it's just kind of an FU. I mean, that I think that's what it is. I think it's just an FU. Trump's blowing the place up. Now, it's an hour and a half till game time. And I read a crawl on a podcast I was watching that said Trump was going to make a bombshell announcement before the Super Bowl. So I want to make sure that I'm in front of the TV to see it. I want to go back, cover one other story that we covered last week, and that was the plane crash in D.C. There's still more information coming out on it. The film footage that was leaked that we saw that night was leaked by 2 airport employees, and they were both immediately fired. Not quite sure why. I don't know. Maybe you're not supposed to leak videos. Maybe that's a no-no. They were both fired. And I listened to a podcast, watched a podcast with an aviation expert who was explaining how the helicopter was at least 1 minute away from the plane that it hit. And 1 minute in air is a lifetime. And the plane was 1 mile higher than what it was allowed to be. It was 300 feet in the air. The cap on those Blackhawks is 200 feet. And it was 1 mile off course. And I've watched several different shots of this crash. And still waiting for some black box stuff. They said that one of the black boxes from the helicopter, they have to try to reconstruct some stuff. It was damaged a little bit. I want to hear what happened inside that helicopter, because as I see it right now, you can't tell me that that helicopter didn't fly into that plane on purpose. One man's opinion. More to come. So, folks, I hope you got your chips and dips and ribs and wings and all those good things ready. I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. Remember, folks, in your festivities, and this would be a good time, stop and smell the roses a little bit, because they smell wonderful. Life is granted to no one, folks. Tomorrows are never granted to anybody. And if you have an opportunity to do a random act of kindness for a stranger, please do. For every random act of kindness you do makes this world a much better place to live. So until we meet again, enjoy the game. Buona fortuna. And this is Double T saying ciao, ciao.
Memories press between the pages of my mind. Memories sweeten through the ages just like wine. Quiet thoughts come floating down and settle softly to the ground like golden autumn leaves around my feet. I touch them and they burst apart with sweet memories.